I'm just a guy who loves Disney that has way too much time on his hands. If anybody from Disney is watching, please don't sue me. I'm here to rate, review, and describe all of your favorite things from the magical world of Disney. I'm File91e and welcome to my Disney News and Reviews. Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Disney News and Reviews. I'm File91e. A pretty cool week for me this week, guys. It's interesting. What happened tonight was really neat because I kind of did an impromptu live Q&A. If you follow me on my File91e Facebook page or on Twitter, I did mention it on Twitter right before it happened. But if you follow me on my File91e Facebook page, I decided to do a little test of the Google Plus Hangout system that's also linked up with YouTube. And I decided to try it out and do a live hangout session. I did it for about an hour and 15 minutes. I talked to a bunch of you. There was like 20 people watching, which was pretty neat because considering I kind of like, I thought of it last night, mentioned it. People seemed to respond to it, so I decided to just do it just to see what it would be like. And overall, it was a very positive experience. Using Google Plus Hangouts really did everything that I would ever need for a live Q&A. I even saw that I'd be able to use some of my streaming tools. So hopefully, maybe one day as we get past this, I'll be able to do a live show, which is what I'm ultimately trying to do. So if you want to, you can check out my live event. It's already uploaded, ready to go. You can do just on my main page, my main channel page. You can see underneath my uploads is the event section. Now I have an event section where you can see all of my events, whether they be future or completed, in which case this would be a completed event. So very cool stuff. I had a blast doing it. It was great talking to you guys. I will plan on doing more because this was easy to set up. Literally plugged a couple things in and just got it set up. So hopefully next time I'll give you guys some more advance notice, and we'll be able to get things going for this next File91e Q&A. Although I think I'm just going to call it a podcast, live podcast, because I'll be able to talk with you guys. This was technically my second podcast type thing. So I talked about some stuff. You guys asked me questions. It was great. So check that out if you are so inclined. The Where in the World answer for last week was Captain EO. You guys got it right. It was just the loading area of Captain EO. I tried to fool you guys, hoping make you think it was something else, but you guys are good. You guys are good. Yeah. So there's that. Also, we're still in Movie May, where I'm going to be reviewing movies all month, which should be fun. Next week, which should be actually pretty neat because it's when I'm going to be reviewing a movie that is just coming out. It's called $1 Million Arm. I've heard nothing but good things about it, so I'm really looking forward to it. I urge you guys to go check it out, see it for yourself. I will watch it, and then on Friday, I think, and we'll come back and review it. It should be fun. So yeah, let's get, or at least that's what happens with, that's what I've been doing this week. Let's get right to the news. Disney has released the schedules for this year's Very Merry Christmas Party and Not So Scary Halloween Party. Advance sales pricing is available for all of the events for each of the respective parties. For more information on both, please follow the links below. Certain events during Star Wars weekends are now available for FastPass Plus. On the first weekend, the first available show is the Behind the Force Star Wars Rebels, the Obi-Wan and Beyond, starring James Arnold Taylor, and the stars of the saga Star Wars Celebrity Talk Show. Those are all things that are possible, FastPass Plus things. These shows are included in the Tier 1 FastPass Plus selection group at Disney's Hollywood Studios. That means, like the bigger names, Twilight Zone, Toy Story Mania, those sort of things. Disney has also released the full schedule for the first Star Wars weekend, and if you are so inclined, you can follow the link below to read all about it. They're doing a whole bunch of stuff, and there's a link below. Check it out. Also about Star Wars weekends, Disney is now offering a special VIP package that promises to be out of this world. See what I did there? See what I did? For the low price of $499, the low price, you will be able to get closer to all the action than other people can. Included in this package is premium seating for Star Wars weekend shows at the Premiere Theater, expedited access to attractions like Star Tours and other big rides, reserved viewing locations during the Legends of the Force motorcade, as well as breakfast and lunch offerings, and much more. Just a ton of stuff there. For a full listing, please follow the link below. Disney has just released a photo and a little video, actually, there's a link to that in the description box, of the newly built Harambe Theater in Disney's Animal Kingdom, along with a look inside the cast of the festival, The Lion King. The new theater will be home to the hugely popular Festival of the Lion King show that closed earlier this year in its original home at Camp Mini Mickey. A precise opening date has not yet been released, but the show will be back entertaining guests in June. The new theater will be also home to the Lion King concert in the wild during the Summer Harambe Nights event, so that should be pretty fun. As you can see, it looks really nice. It looks really, beautiful. They did it right, and I can't wait to see what they do with this new event or this new place. It should be pretty cool. Disney's Animal Kingdom will debut a new macaw experience this summer on Discovery Island. Called Winged Encounters, the Kingdom Takes Flight. The experience will give guests up-close encounters with birds and experts, and give and a chance to see the macaws fly around the island. Rehearsals are underway now, so you may see a few macaws taking flight around Disney's Animal Kingdom. Try not to get pooped on. Mickey's Jammin' Jungle Parade will have its final performance on May 31st. The parade at Disney's Animal Kingdom is permanently closing and will not be replaced. Other entertainment experiences are in development for the park, including the new Rivers of Light nighttime show. So, cool stuff there. And in some rehab and refurbishment news, the Carousel of Progress refurbishment that was scheduled for the summer has been rescheduled, extended and split into two. Originally scheduled for August 25th to September 4th, the refurbishment will now take place from May 17th to May 22nd, and then from September 22nd to September 27th. So 2 5-day refurbishments split before and after summer. So who knows what they're going to be doing with that. So yeah, that might change. You never know. So that's the news for this week. Let's get right to the reviews. Alright, everybody. Like I said, it's Movie May, and I'm going to be reviewing movies, old movies and new movies, all this month. What I want to try to do is review one obscure, kind of older movie, and one newer movie that you guys, you might see. That's kind of the format that I'm going for. So the first new and older, obscure movie that I want to review today is The Moon Pilot. This came out in 1962 and is directed by James Nielsen. Now, this is one of those movies that Disney just was putting out back in the 60s. It was a live-action movie, obviously, and this was one of the numbers, one of the many of them that they put out back then. And this was also kind of showcased Disney's interest in space and whatnot. This was also around the time that Disney had his Tomorrowland series on his Wide World of Color, where he showcased all kinds of rockets and different things for people eventually going up to the moon. And it's funny to watch a movie like this, because this came out in 1962, where we haven't really landed on the moon yet. And it's just funny. To see them, it's like we're orbiting the moon now. We're doing this. We finally made somebody orbit the moon, and we won the space race. That sort of thing. It's just funny to see that. Now, this was based on Robert Buckner's 1960 novel Starfire, and how Disney got his hands on it. He had actually seen it in a serialized form in the Saturday Evening Post, his newspaper. He saw it, liked the story, and eventually read the novel and decided to try to, make an adaptation of it. Now, obviously, what you see on here is not an exact replica of the novel. Disney Disneyfied it, and this was one of his last movies that he really kind of had a hand in dealing with. So that was kind of really neat. Now, what is The Moon Pilot about? Well, basically, you got this guy here who's an astronaut and pilot, who works for the Department of Air Force and whatnot, and he doesn't like to fly, and he, you know, his friend is a chimpanzee who successfully made an orbit around the moon, and the chimp came back, but the chimp is acting a little weird, that sort of thing. That's a key plot point that you might want to remember as you go through the movie. So he inadvertently volunteers himself to, you know, be the first man to, you know, circumnavigate the moon and then come back. So this is a big thing. You know, however, you know, we now know that he does not like to fly. He gets a little airsick. Who thought of a pilot getting airsick? That makes no sense. Why would you be a highly ranked official in the Air Force and you can't stand to fly? That just doesn't make any sense to me. But anyway, so he wants to take some leave, and when he takes some leave, he's told to not really mention this to anybody. Don't get involved with anybody. Don't get involved with girls, that sort of thing. Of course, he's going to get involved with a girl. This, you know, very beautiful woman right here. Her name is Lorraine, and we just know that she's from out of town, and she's very mysterious. You know, this foreign lady that, you know, tells him not to do stuff and and can almost predict his future. So some hijinks happen, you know, with the FBI. Although in the movie they're not known as the FBI, they're known as the Federal Security Agency. There is a reason for that, and I'll get to that in a minute. You know, so a bunch of stuff happens. The monkey's only in it for about is he a chimpanzee or a monkey? I think he's a chimpanzee. The chimpanzee's only in there for about, you know, like 2 minutes, but I guess that's just enough for kids, you know, to really want to be, you know, placated for the whole thing. So a bunch of stuff happens. He winds up, you know, meeting and going along with this mysterious woman at the against the wishes of everybody. You know, the the Federal Security Agency or whatever. But the key thing is, she tells him that, you know, if he actually does, you know, circumnavigate the moon in the current spaceship, he'll come back and be all kind of whacked out because he doesn't have this special type of paint that is, you know, that will coat the outside of the thing. So she comes to tell him that. Why? We just assume that she has a crush on him for no apparent reason. Of all the people in the world, she has a crush on him. But who knows why this really wasn't explained. But anyway, he tells the FSA about all this stuff, and then he tells his boss about all this stuff. They eventually have a big schmooze, and he, you know, is on his way to the moon. And before he gets to the moon, she somehow mysteriously, you know, appears in his, you know, in the cockpit of this spaceship, which makes no sense whatsoever. And then she decides to go, well, instead of coming to the moon, why don't you come over to one of our 7 moons of love, if you know what I mean. So he decides to take a sabbatical and decides to go with her, obviously, as any red-blooded male would do, because that's how spaceships work. Is you know, we can fly around like that. You know, that's what we can do. It's just that's basically the movie. I mean, it was very confusing. Not a whole lot of stuff going on, and it was very, very odd. Let me just say that. Anyway, the main character, his name is Tom Tryon, or Trian, or whatever his name is. He was apparently in Texas John Savage, or Texas John Revenge, or whatever his name is. He was a TV star at the time. He played Captain Richmond Talbot. Danny Saval, the girl, she played Lorraine. She was kind of touted at that time as being the new Brigitte Bardot. She's French, and she has a funny accent, and she's really pretty, and there was a lot of gags centered on that. Also, Tommy Kirk was in this movie, just to kind of give the Disney fans a face that they know. So he was in there for about 3 seconds. But you know, everybody else, you know, just were kind of people. I mean, they did good. You know, they did a good job. It was funny at times. I think at the time it would have been a little bit funnier. I'm not sure. I didn't really laugh a whole lot at the movie. Although I did laugh that this was actually Sally Field's film debut, which is funny to see Sally Field be, you know that young. She played a beatnik girl during one of the lineup scenes, and she's just one of the ones that is kind of talking about random stuff. She has if you watch the movie, she's the one with glasses and like a big sweater and whatnot. It's just very, very funny, very, very funny to see Sally Field in that. Now, I mentioned before that the FBI was not known as the FBI in this; they were the Federal Security Agency. The reason why is that the FBI took some liberties on this. They were like, well, you know, the FBI wouldn't be, you know, escorting an Air Force captain around. That's not what we do. And you know, Disney was just trying to make it fun and just doing, you know, they're out, you know, they're taking it way too seriously. So Disney was like, okay, whatever. We're now going to call this federal security. So they became the federal security people in the movie. And when the movie was released, they still like we're nitpicking at the slapstick nature of it. It's a comedy movie where there's monkeys and a pilot that like deviates and goes to something. They're taking it way too seriously. But I guess if you work for the FBI, you have no sense of humor anyway. You know, so, or at least that's beaten out of you. So that doesn't really, you know, go with that. But again, okay, that's pretty much it. I got this DVD. This was one of my Disney Movie Club DVDs that I got. There is no special features. There's no nothing. It's just the movie, and it's something. It's definitely something to have in the collection, just because you know, I can whip this out and say I bet you haven't seen this movie. So yeah. Overall, it was a 1960s movie. The effects were very 1960s. The sets were 1960s. The acting was okay. Disney, you know, did a good job with that. Overall, the story was just kind of very absurd, and I'm sure at the time it would have been a little bit more enjoyable. But we're in 2014 now, not 1962, and you know, life has moved on. We have been on the Earth, and we're now on Mars. So I guess that was kind of lost on me. My grandmother had no idea of this movie. She didn't remember this at all. So I guess that you know, that kind of sums it up. If she hasn't heard of this Disney movie, then you know, this really wasn't a big name Disney movie. Okay, so what am I going to give Moon Pilot? I think I want to give this 2 stars out of 5. It's 2 out of 5. It's a slightly unaverage movie. It's not really, I didn't really get anything from it. It's exactly what I thought it was going to be, though, oddly enough. Like, I knew it was going to be a crappy 60s movie, and it definitely was a crappy 60s movie. Totally understand why this hasn't been released for mass production. You can only really get this during the Disney Movie Club. But I like having it again. I doubt I'll ever watch it again unless somebody asks me about it, in which case we'll watch it and laugh at it, not with it. So, but although I do got to say, it was I have a soft spot in my heart for old 60s movies because of just the, you know, the stuff that they do and the computers that they have, and just how bad it looks. It'll be interesting to see a remake or a reimagining of this using better technology. Although Disney, that's not a good idea. Do not reimagine this movie. It will go bad. It'll go down bad. Especially if you put Johnny Depp in it. He doesn't need to be in anymore. Unless he's Captain Jack Sparrow, in which case that would be awesome. See Captain Jack Sparrow in the reimagining of the Moon Pilot. That would be something else. But yeah, there you go. Moon Pilot. 2 stars. Alright guys, there you go, Moon Pilot. The next thing I want to review for you today is Muppets Most Wanted. I was going to review this last week, but I hadn't seen it yet. Finally got to go around, or get to see it this time, this week, and now I can review it. So yeah, obviously this came out just a couple weeks ago, and it's directed by James Bowman, who also did the original Muppets. This is the sequel to the Muppets that starred Jason Segel. Jason Segel is not in this one. The reason why Jason Segel was stated as saying he never wanted to make a sequel or anything. He just wanted to get the Muppets name started again so that they'll continue to make movies. And apparently, he did a good job with that, because we have the Muppets Most Wanted movie. Originally, this was going to be called The Muppets Again. Kind of like, just be like, hey, we're back again. It's kind of that sort of thing. But as the story took shape, it became Muppets Most Wanted would be a better title for it. And I'm not going to give any plot points away, even though this is about 2 seconds away from coming on DVD. Basically, what happens in this movie... Now, this movie literally began where the Muppets ended. They had no idea what they were going to do after this. It's kind of funny, to hear the Muppets saying, well, what do we do now? It's almost as if the writers are saying, well, what do we do now? So they decided to go on world tour. Because this guy, played by Ricky Gervais, his name is Dominic Badguy, or Bad Guy, it's literally spelled Bad Guy, Dominic Bad Guy, told them to do a world tour. And what happened, it's really convoluted. The whole story is very convoluted. You really got to watch it in order to understand. There's an evil frog that looks just like Kermit the Frog, except for a mole, who escaped from a really maximum security prison, met Kermit, slapped or glued a fake mole to his cheek, and then wound up becoming Kermit the Frog with a bad accent. And then Kermit the Frog got framed and got sent to this maximum security, Russian prison, where the head security person, played by Tina Fey, her name is what was her name? Oh, Nadia. Where she, apparently has an infatuation with Kermit the Frog, and could tell immediately that it wasn't this bad guy, this bad frog, and she wanted to keep him locked up because of her infatuation for Kermit. Again, that's like a side thing, and this whole movie is very convoluted. You just kind of watch these movies and just go, all right, okay. Alright. Okay. But like every Muppet movie, there are a lot of cameos and a lot of songs. The cameos range from Lady Gaga and Tony Bennett to Usher, and Frank Langella, who did, who's great. It was funny, Usher played an usher in the fake Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy's Wedding. That's kind of funny. There was just a lot of other people thrown in there. Tom Hiddleston was in there. He was great. Even Christoph Waltz. Christoph Waltz was actually supposed to be Ty Burrell's character, who Ty Burrell plays Jean-Pierre Napoleon, who is kind of like an Inspector Clouseau sort of French Interpol inspector who shared his screen time with Sam Eagle. Sam Eagle, who played a CIA guy. Originally, they didn't like each other, but then as their story arc, they became friends and whatnot. So that's just kind of what happened. But Christoph Waltz was supposed to play Ty Burrell's character, but couldn't, and due to scheduling issues. But Ty Burrell did a great job. I thought him, Tina Fey, and Ricky Gervais were pretty much the best parts of the movie. They just did a great job with it. Obviously, the Muppets were great too, but they really didn't do a whole lot. I mean, I'm not the biggest Muppets fan in the world, but I respect them, and I liked the original Muppets, or the old Muppets movie, the one that was from like 2011 or whatever. This Muppets movie, right here, this Muppets movie, this one right here. I really liked this one. I thought the songs were better, the narrative was better. This one just was a little too convoluted for me. There wasn't really a whole lot going on. I loved the cameos, and the songs were good, but there wasn't really any memorable songs in there that that really just jumped out at me. It was missing something. I just can't really put my finger on what, but it was missing something. Apparently, my review actually echoed a lot of what some people were saying, but then also didn't echo what other people were saying. This movie got a ton of mixed reviews, ranging from it was awesome to it was terrible. My opinion is it was not as good as the first one, which is kind of funny because the first opening song that they did was along the lines of the sequel's not as good as the first one, which I thought it was funny that they started the movie like that, and I guess I just immediately thought that it wouldn't be as good. But it really wasn't, to me, as good of a movie as the first one. I think they, the writers kind of knew that, so they just went crazy and had some fun. And I did laugh out loud, on certain parts, and certain parts of the movie were hysterical. And but overall, I was left after the movie ended just feeling like it was all right. It was cool. It was all right. I wish. Well, I didn't have to pay because because my brother works at the movie theater. If I had to have paid, I would have been a little upset because it really wasn't that good of a movie. I really wouldn't want to pay $13 for a movie ticket. So yeah. But yeah, that's Muppets Most Wanted. I really it was okay. It wasn't that good of a movie, but it wasn't a terrible movie. It wasn't the Moon Pilot, so that has it has that going for it. Another bit of trivia: the little person that is one of the prisoners in the maximum security prison is the WWE wrestler known as Hornswoggle. He is a huge Muppets fan, and the fact that he got to be in this movie, almost kind of featured right next to Ray Liotta, is kind of neat. So I really dug that. And that was just my last little bit of trivia. So what am I going to give Muppets Most Wanted? I'll give it 3 stars. It was an okay movie, but it came out. It was a lot better than the Moon Pilot. I'll give you that. But a lot of my friends, they kind of said the same thing. It was only just an okay movie. It wasn't as good as the Muppets right here, 2012. It wasn't as good as the Muppets. I think partially because it didn't have Jason Segel, and Jason Segel was really the driving force in making that movie, a huge success, and because he really understood what made the Muppets so appealing to people. But it was nice to see the Muppets in a movie again. Again, it wasn't a bad movie. It really wasn't, but it wasn't a very good movie either. So, if I completely, confused you, I don't know why, because I think I'm pretty clear. Yeah, so anyway, the Muppets Most Wanted, 3 stars. Check it out. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this week's Disney News and Reviews. Again, I hope I didn't confuse anybody. But I do think you should go check out, Muppets Most Wanted, or at least get it on Blu-ray. Check it out on Netflix. It's or when it comes to Blu-ray or when it comes to Netflix, it'll be pretty good. You can skip the Moon Pilot if you want to, but if you really want to watch something terrible, you can try to find it on the internet, or if you know somebody like me who has it on DVD, go over to their house and watch it. But bring some pizza and popcorn and some drinks, so you guys can laugh at it. That old '60s terrible 60s movie. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me this week. If anybody from Disney is watching, please don't sue me. I want people to go down to Disney World and enjoy themselves and check out the Muppets Most Wanted, check out Moon Pilot and all that stuff. Sign up for the Disney Movie Club so you can buy it. Check it out. And if you are going down to Disney World, be sure to go to allers.net, touringplans.com, www.magic.com for our latest and greatest Disney news. WaltDisneyWorld.com is good too. Passporter.com is great. They have a great, guide for going down to Disney World. It's just awesome. Very, very good stuff. And yeah, so I think that's going to wrap up this second week of movie month. I want to come back next week. I think it's $1 Million Arm, and I'll have to come up with another older movie for you guys. Hopefully one that you have not seen, or at least I don't think you have seen, because I guarantee you not many people have seen Moon Pilot. But yeah. So I'll come back with that and check out $1 Million Arm. Very cool. Newest Disney movie release of for this month of May. So yeah, you guys got it easy last week. I'll try to stump you again this week. I'll see you guys next time for another Disney News and Reviews. So guys, where in the world am I this week? Bye guys.